So I'm supposed to be working out so I can get ready for San Diego Comic-Con in 3 weeks. And I said, fuck that this weekend. I've been laying around sleep because I have been literally exhausted since NegroCon. Since, I think, the Thursday before NegroCon started, I have been just, like, dead tired. Because it's been a sprint. Like, people don't realize that. I mean, when I think I found the email that when Awesome Con said we weren't gonna bring you guys back. I think that was March, like, 24th or something like that. I think April is when we decided we're going to do NegroCon, like maybe like a week later. Right, a week later. So while all that's going on, and I'm trying to organize that, we're also doing the site redesign because I wasn't expecting to have to, put together a whole entire NegroCon. And I was like, well, this is a good time. Our shows will be ending. Be a good time for us to redesign the MTR network and officially switch over to the MTR network. We're going to get the site done. We're going to have to do 2 sites. We're going to have a store. I'm working with Jamie to get these shirts done. Yeah. So, like, all of that has happened in, like, the last 2.5 months. So I finally get a time to like, breathe. Like, the site is done. The store is up. NegroCon is done is great. We still have 5 more shirts. You mentioned in the store. There's still. I just looked it up. We have 5 more shirt designs to put out. We have them. I just haven't put them up yet. So we'll be releasing those probably in the next couple of weeks or so. Dude, it's just been so fucking much, yo. I finally got this is the first weekend I've been like, yeah, I can breathe. I don't have to do anything, and I have it.
I was so excited to have, just like you said, a relaxing weekend, and not forced. I had to go out. It was my boy's last night working his job. He got a new job. We're all celebrating, so I had to go out last night, and I wanted to just go on the record and say I feel terrible right now. I don't feel great.
Of course, I mean it's just, and that's why I haven't worked out. Like I wanted to go to the gym and work out. I was like, you know what? I know what's gonna happen. I'm gonna get to the gym and be like, I don't fucking feel like doing any of this shit. So I'm just gonna wait until Monday. Because already on Monday, I can't say fuck it because I got to go to work anyway. So right. Monday will be the day when I got a 4 muscle to go. I'm spending the next couple of days just kind of taking it all in and relaxing because, man, we're not young men anymore. So you can't just keep going out here and killing yourself. And yeah, so I get it, man. I get it.
Yeah, and I know we did the NegroCon recap over on Zane Check this week, but I just want to say again, like, thank you to everyone who came out. Thank you to everyone who supported it, just talking about it. Like, people talking about it ended up having ESPN show up and interview us.
Right.
Like, we're talking to the Undefeated because they were like, oh, we saw people talking about it on social media.
I'm still not admitting that that's real until something goes up about it. So
you can't tell me anything. I'm like, you can't tell us nothing. Like we built this.
Yeah, I mean it's a great feeling.
It's the great feeling, and like it was so cool because somebody at some point I didn't get the name. Someone went to my dad and was like, hey, Mr. Palmer, I really appreciate when you come on UD Pod. You just bring that real and that knowledge, and of course he's told me that story like 3 or 4 times now because he loves that story. But I'm like, y'all aren't gonna like. This is my show, like that. I'm not being replaced by my father. I want to get that out there and just out right now.
I mean,
absolutely not.
I mean, there is room on the MTR Network. We could have him have his own show. I'm just throwing those out there.
The evil stops with me, Kriss.
It will not be a legacy.
The evil stops here.
I'm just saying. I don't know what you and Susan's plans are in the future, but I'm just saying if there is a little DPalm, I'm just saying.
Yeah,
I get first signing rights, right? On podcasting, I get.
I'm telling you right now, she has a podcast idea, and I'm just like, don't tell him, don't tell Kriss ever. She's like, why? I'm like, just don't. It's a slippery slope, and it's a great idea too.
Tell her we'll talk.
No, it's.
Oh man.
Anyway, Kriss is here. We kind of took over the MTR Network again for a weekend.
Because everybody else is dead.
Sports.
Oh man, I think everybody else is just trying to recover too.
And I respect that. But I feel like we might have an addiction. We might have a problem with this podcasting thing because I haven't talked about this with anyone on any airways yet, and I don't know. Like normally, I have I'll have like the sports shows, then occasionally the wrestling shows. Nary the two shall meet. But when we're talking about Mayweather, McGregor, it feels more like a wrestling show, right?
Look, so I'm glad you brought me on for this because I haven't had a chance to talk about my disgust with the world of MMA right now and everything. I don't know when this happened, but MMA is becoming everything I didn't want it to become and everything that got me into MMA in the first place. Not just a wrestling thing, but also just it's becoming this thing like boxing, which is why I stopped watching boxing. I love the sport of boxing. I hate boxing, the promotion, and I hate everything about it because, like, it's not for the fans. It just isn't, you know? It just isn't. So before we even get into talking about the stupid shit the UFC is doing, I have to talk about the stupid shit that Bellator is doing right now. Where Bellator, which I used to love Bellator because I was like, hey, you know what? They have some really scrappy young guys over here. There's some really great fights. One day they could give the UFC some competition. Then Scott Coker took over. And he basically turned the Bellator into UFC Light. Where what he's doing right now is he's bringing all these has-beens from the UFC and making them headliners. Did you know last night there was a Bellator card that had 3 title fights and none of them were the headliner? One of the title fights was actually on the prelims before the pay-per-view. Then the next title fight actually opened up the pay-per-view. And then the third title fight was after the headliner, which featured, hold on, Vanderlei Silva and Chael Sonnen. What the?
I know, like, you're making great points here. Chael Sonnen is the best heel promo in the business.
No, and I see
that
the
promo he cut after the win. I was like, just throw money at him.
Wait a minute. Did you buy this?
No. I saw it on Twitter. I was in my Uber on the way home from the bar. I was watching it on Twitter.
This is about to be the quickest Unanimous decision podcast ever because I was going to
Kriss.
I'm sorry, it just cannot be here. No, and I get that, and you do, and I'm not saying that you don't use Chael for that because he is great. You know, I mean, shit, he's over here. They brought in Fedor, who is well beyond his years. He needs to retire. They brought him in, and Fedor lost last night, and Chael won, and Chael called out Fedor because, hey, that's a great way of getting Fedor to stay around and keep him going and using that name. But you know what? You don't make that the headliner. Because what's happened is, what Bellator has done is, they have buried every single one of their main champions to that. When you relegate your champions, now granted, the Phil Davis, Ryan Bader fight was horrendously terrible and should have been there because Phil Davis he can't strike worth a damn. Like, he's a great wrestler. He cannot strike worth a damn. It is very, very fucking sad. Still, you do not bury your main, your top prospects and your champions like that for people
at
like
the expense of old talent.
You just don't do that. So
that's literally the problem with WWE. Like, that's the exact problem.
Right. So already I'm losing faith in Bellator right there. And now the UFC is on Conor McGregor's nuts and and literally at this point, I saw yesterday, look, loved him when he first started. Dana White got to go. He's literally out here now promoting, like, McGregor Mayweather before anything else.
And the thing is, you're right, but from a business perspective, he fucking has to.
I know.
Like we don't have to like it, but we have to acknowledge that he's in the. Not saying he's right, wrong, or different from putting himself in the position, but once we're here, you're pot committed, and you better get the fuck on board.
Yeah, but the problem also comes down to it's going to be it's not as bad as the Bellator problem because UFC has the name and they are the name in MMA. The problem is going to be that you're going to have win, lose, or draw with McGregor. McGregor's done. You're never going to be able, like, you're going to
ever come back.
You're going to have McGregor come back to making peanuts after whatever he makes at this fight. He's won already. Like, that's what people don't understand. You buy this fight, you don't understand. McGregor's already won. I mean, Mayweather's going to win too, but McGregor's already won.
Won when the fight was announced. The fight doesn't have to happen now.
Yeah, no. Once it was, he's won. He has all the cards. So So even from a business point of view, from short term, I get it, but long term, Dana White has literally diluted the brand completely now.
You're not wrong. But guess what? That long term poison that will kill him, it's going to make him very rich very fast.
Yes, it will. And
he's going to cash out, and that's what happened. But there's the sneaky part of the story. That's how this story ends, with Dana White getting bought out.
Yeah. Here's the thing. Conor McGregor.
6 months from the fight.
Conor McGregor, great fight. I love him. I have to recognize him in the skill. And great a way of promoting himself and getting what he needs. The problem is the way Conor McGregor is doing it is going to turn MMA into boxing. A lot of guys trying to go that route, which kind of is the reason why a lot of people started going to MMA in the first place, which was, we get to see fights. Conor McGregor has not defended either one of the belts he's won. He made a big deal out of being the first guy to win the 145 belt and the 155 belt and hold them both at the same time. He defended neither one of them. When he comes back, he's not going to be a champion. He's not going to come back, and he's not going to. What are we doing here? What are we doing here? At the same time, Dana White is also then in this war of words with literally the best pound for pound fighter in MMA. With Demetrius Johnson, trying to force him to fight a guy who has never fought at 125 in TJ Dillashaw. Like, it is driving me crazy watching this. I'm like, I'm literally watching you go down a path that in 2 to 3 years is going to ruin you and ruin the sport. And it's weird saying that considering all the other problems that fighters have with pay and medical expenses and things like that this is what's going to ruin the UFC, but this is what's going to ruin the UFC. And I'm watching it going, how do none of you all see this? Oh wait, you do see it. You don't give a fuck, because everybody who's going to ruin it is going to cash out. Everybody's going to get a golden parachute, be out, and the people that are going to be left holding the bag are going to be the fighters who are going to be left going, what do we do now? It's going to be a disaster.
You know what this honestly does for me? It makes me appreciate Vincent McMahon.
Shit, yeah.
Because I'm like, well, at least, like, and that's, and from his perspective, the reason it's worked so well for him, there's one guy at the end of it. Mm-hmm. It's not a committee. He makes every decision. Yeah. He's a psychopath. but it's a one man's vision.
Yeah, it used to be that I could understand what the UFC was doing and they had a plan. I do know they got bought up by new people, and they have new management. Yeah. I used to know what they were doing because at one point they were buying up everybody else. They were buying up all the other sports.
It was an acquisition thing,
right? Now they've stopped, and now it seems like they're trying to figure out a way of mimicking either boxing in some kind of ways, but more importantly, like wrestling, which I'm like,
you've got to keep making new talent.
Right. And I'm like, I don't think that works.
It's harder to do when you're not calling the shots. Yeah. But the thing is, I think it's the problem with the UFC is Dana wants to push the wrong guys and he's not listening to the crowd. Demetrius Johnson should be pushed.
Well, that in, can you really push somebody like that in UFC? Oh, perfect example of this. Last night in Bellator, I don't even know the guy's name, but they had this upstart coming guy. It was like, oh man, this is the face of MMA. He's going to be in there. Dude lost in 24 seconds. He got tapped in 24 seconds. Like, that's the thing about, like, you can't run UFC like you do wrestling, because in wrestling,
no.
You can.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying as long as you, like, because the thing about wrestling is, yeah, wins and losses matter, but they don't really matter because you're addicted to the personalities.
Right.
Give these guys a platform. Give these guys, like, make their personalities known.
Right.
And then guess what's more interesting? It's not who has a win over some guy whose name you barely know. It's, oh shit, I did to those guys. And you start talking about styles making fights. You start making those actual person comparisons as opposed to them just being names on a ranking sheet.
Yeah.
That's what you need to move to.
I don't know if that works for you. I don't know if that works for MMA though. That's a problem. Because, like, that works if you get somebody, you know what that works for? That works for certain people. It works for people like Chael Sonnen, who win or loss, Chael Sonnen is going to give you a great promo no matter fucking what. As long as he's not knocked out or dead on the mat, you give him a mic, it's going to work. But then you get somebody like, let's say, Ronda Rousey, who, hindsight, people go, oh, you shouldn't have put all your chips in her bag. And I'm like, no, actually, going with her, you should have.
You can, hold on. That's the thing is, the answer's in wrestling. Brock Lesnar can't talk. Who do you book him with? Paul fucking Heyman. You get Ronda Rousey a mouthpiece.
Oh man, I don't know if that.
Don King.
I don't know if that. I don't know if that works. I
know
just
one of that camp who's hungry for the camera.
Who I don't in that camp. No, because we got to remember that camp with her coaching. They were very closed off. So no, there really wasn't.
Then you book the mystique.
Yeah.
My thing is, you find something about every athlete that you have to highlight to make them matter.
Oh yeah, I mean, like I said, well. I hear what you're saying. I also think that MMA fans, in some respect, also won't let that happen. Because there are a lot of times I think that Dana White was trying to do that, where Dana White's trying to go for, like right now, the reason why he wants that DJ versus TJ fight is, in his mind, TJ will sell the fight. He doesn't feel like DJ's a quiet personality. DJ's the best there is. He knows you put TJ in there, TJ will be able to sell the fight, and they'll work from that way. But the problem is, fans are kind of like, but that fight doesn't make any sense because TJ's never fought at that weight class. So I think that's where it doesn't work because the fan bases aren't the same. Wrestling fan bases are okay with that. And I'm not even saying it's wrong. I think that works. You're right. It works 100% for wrestling, and it works for certain fighters and certain low fights. Like if you put in Bellator, you book that Chael Sonnen versus Fedor fight. It's stupid, but you know what? Fedor's a big fucking name, and Chael Sonnen is going to sell the fuck out of that fight. You book that. But when it comes to your title fight sometimes, what do you do? What do you do when you get a guy who honestly, is a quiet DJ guy who honestly kind of is a nerd because he sits there he fucking does Twitch streams, all right? Like, he's a fucking nerd.
But like that's like, it's not subculture anymore. You can talk about that.
Yeah. Maybe, you know what it is? They probably just need to get some new blood in there. They need to get somebody new. Maybe it is the fact that Dana White and the people that are there are honestly just too old and too much of dinosaurs.
Too limited on what a fighter can be. Because that's what I'm saying about the DJ thing. Like, that's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's a person. Make them people. Not even make them characters. Just make them people.
Yeah. Like, they used to do it, but mainly do more. They used to have those.
And the thing, you know what? I used to love UFC, like the vignettes before fight, and now it feels very cookie cutter.
I was just about to say. I was about to say they either don't do them anymore, or when I see them, they don't have the same impact they used to have.
Because they used to really, like, even if you didn't know the fighters, you got sold on personalities in those like 2-minute vignettes.
Well, what they also used to do, and I don't know if I've seen one recently. Maybe again, I just been. Because I think the other thing too is it comes down to something that some people have said about I'm gonna bring my nerd stuff here, like Marvel Comics. In some respect, I think UFC also oversaturates the market too. Like, there's another fight this weekend. There's a fight tonight.
Yeah.
And then you have Ultimate Fight.
Well, it also doesn't help that UFC is ubiquitous with any MMA. So anyone who sees any MMA, they go, "Oh, that's UFC."
Right. And so I think at some point they might have to start cutting back shows because you need to have the mystique there a little bit. I know they used to do these things where the week of the fight. They used to have these little, videos that go in the week of the fight where you used to follow the guys throughout their training camp. And again, those are really nice because you get to see the fighters be real people. So I don't know, man. I just
that's the exact thing I'm talking about, dude. That should happen before every big fight.
Yeah, I think they don't do it anymore because every weekend seems like it's a big fucking fight. They always seem like you're always doing all these things. I think also the move. I don't know, man. I think that there needs to be at some point. At this point, I am 100% on board with the Dana White needs to go phase. I think a lot of people called for that years ago. I think it was too soon then. I think you needed a Dana White at that point. But when they got new management and they went this new route, I'm like, you know what? Maybe Dana White should go.
Shouldn't still be here.
Well, the way I'm seeing him go, Dana White now has his guys, and he's always had his guys, but now it looks bad. So when DJ comes out and goes, "Hey, I'm the best pound for pound fighter in the world. You should be promoting me more and doing more for me. And Dana White goes, no, that's Conor McGregor. And Conor McGregor, one, has never defended his titles because you don't make him fight. And then two,
you so much.
And then, the other reason why it bothers me is because Dana White says that shit, and then like MMA sites literally came out and were like, but dude, after his last fight, you literally said he's the best fighter in the world, and he's the best pound for pound fighter in the world. Like, we have you on tape and on camera saying that. So which is it now? So it's like, at this point, Dana's got to go because honestly, he only has on his mind a handful of guys. Right now it's Conor McGregor, maybe one or two others, and then all of the older, he has soft spots for all the people that literally helped him, make the UFC what it is. But that's it. Like, he doesn't have any room for new guys. And that's why you see a lot of the defections from when people get free agency now and they go from UFC to Bellator. The reason why they do that is because, well, Dana White, you've kind of been an asshole to some of these people. And that's just not the personality you can have when you're running this. Because, you know what? At some point, guys are going to go, you're spending all this time promoting a boxing match. And you're saying basically, fuck, like, all this talk about, Conor McGregor and Mayweather fighting. Next month is the final meeting. John Jones is back. Oh, that guy. Okay. I'm just saying.
Right, final question: Are you going to buy this fight?
Hell, fucking no. Conor McGregor is going. Look, I hate the person that Floyd Mayweather is. Floyd Mayweather is going to destroy Conor McGregor. I saw a video.
This fight only lasts as long as Floyd Mayweather allows it to.
He's already training. Like, this is not like, say what you want. Floyd is a terrible human being. All right, but he's a goddamn machine when it comes to boxing. All right,
he's a boxing monster.
I have already seen the videos of him training hard for this fight. All right, Conor McGregor has a puncher's chance, and that is about it. But it's a puncher's chance that any puncher has against Floyd Mayweather, which is not very much. All right? Like, good luck, Conor. I don't see it happening. I'm not paying $70 because it's going to be $70. I think
it's going to be $70.
Well, actually, I've heard them talking about $99. Fuck that even more. All right? So, no, I'm not buying it. Because the other thing, too, it's like, what are the fights on the card? Here's the thing. You know what? If Dana White was smart, if he had done this, you know what he would have done? He would have done what Bellator has done sometime, which is you have a mixed card of MMA and boxing at the same fucking time. If he was smart, but he didn't. All he cares about right now is this one boxing match. So you're in here with an MMA guy with no promotion for MMA. It's fucking stupid.
You know what you should have done? Put John Jones and your boy in the card there.
Bruh, how do you not do that? How do you not also put
shit.
How do you not also
There's so much money left on that table.
Like see, now you're making me mad again because this is the problem I'm having with what Dana White's doing. It's like, fine, I get it. Short-term business goal, you make that fight. Hey, it's like when James Toney came over and fought Couture, right, and lost in like the first round. All right, but it got more people watching the MMA. Here, you're getting all eyes on a boxing match. Where's your MMA kind of stuff be at? The guys in the crowd, or the fact that the guy in the ring is an MMA fighter? You're not showcasing anything. All you're going to do is get a bunch of people that watch boxing going, see, I told you, MMA sucks.
Watch this MMA guy get dropped.
Right. What you do is, if you put in also MMA at the same time, you put another title fight in there. Fuck, you could have had, I know he's not going to be ready, but if they had pushed it back a little bit further, you could have had the return of GSP. The return of George St. Pierre. At the same time, put him against Michael Bisping, because that's what you guys want to fucking do. Stupid fight, but okay. That could have been going on. Like, there's something you could have gotten something for nothing, because you're going to lose in this fight. All right? What do you get out of it? What does MMA get out of it? What does UFC get out of it? Absolutely goddamn nothing. Unless by some stroke of God, Conor McGregor knocks out and wins the fight.
That would be called Floyd taking a dive.
And good luck.
Which I am, as a wrestling fan, 100% here for.
Yeah, dude.
I am ready for the whole world to get worked, And for the outrage, oh my God, it'd be worth it for the headlines.
Oh my goodness. Yeah,
Do it for the gram.
I'm not watching the fight. I am watching Twitter that night, and we'll see how that goes. That's what I'm watching. All right.
If you're gonna watch the fight, make sure you watch it with people who are not a photo negative of you. Boxing brings out the worst in America, and this fight will bring out the. You're gonna see so many people you didn't know were Irish are gonna get so Irish that week.
You know what the funny thing about it is? So I went to his last MMA fight, which might be his last MMA fight ever. When he won the light heavyweight title, right? And surprisingly, the Irish people around me weren't that bad. I was surprised 'cause I was ready to, and we're in New York, so I was ready for them to be the worst. But then again, the thing about that one is he won the fight, so I can only imagine what happens if he loses. So,
yeah, but that's different too. Like MMA is one thing. Boxing fans,
yeah,
it's real. How do you say possessive? People claim things. I don't watch boxing in mixed company. I'll say that.
It's just gonna be, yeah. Well, and also be prepared that the fight's not gonna start until like midnight. So.
Oh no! I would have no undercard. Start the broadcast at 9 and have them not fight till 1 a.m. As a giant middle finger to everyone who pays for this.
Oh my God! You guys just.
That's exactly what I would do. But I'm also a terrible, terrible, terrible person.
Wow.
Calling calling Mayweather McGregor's Mauro Ranallo, who is a favorite of the podcast. He's also returning to WWE television. Going to be calling NXT. Welcome back, Mauro. I did that for me, no one else. Also, pro wrestling, kind of. Have you seen the promos for this thing on Netflix called Glow?
I've seen a little bit here and there, but I haven't actually watched it.
Okay, so in the 80s, there was this company called Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling. They had a television show, and it was women's wrestling. And they made a television series of it on Netflix. It's got Allison Brie, Mark Maron. Those are the leads, and it's just it's wild because on Netflix right now there is a documentary about what actually happened, but now this television series has been released. It's 10 episodes. I'm hearing not terrible things so far. I haven't watched it, and let's be honest, I probably will.
Yeah, I've actually heard good things about it, so you might want to give it a try.
This, like Eddie Guerrero's cousin, helped him do all the wrestling. This is crazy. This is crazy. Wow, what a world. What a world 2017. Speaking of what a world, this is okay, so sometimes I send before every UD pod, I always send the rundown of the list of topics to my guest. I don't do that with Kriss because honestly, fuck it.
I mean, keeping it real here,
But I had this story tucked away, and he ends up emailing me and says, "I know we're talking about this Sunday." I was like, "Damn." I want to please go to the show notes and look at this. May actually be this might be the cover.
It's got to be the image, right? It's got to be the image for the show. Got to be.
Wow. Got to be the image for the show. I usually don't make these decisions until much later, but yeah, this is it. A Ohio State recruit, Tyreek Smith. He's a high school junior football player, one of the most sought after athletes in Ohio, and he went to this camp sporting a T-shirt that says, "I hope I don't get killed for being black today."
I saw this and I was just like, my nigga, yo, seriously?
And for y'all who are saying some child stunting off what he doesn't know about, he was ready for you too. I decided to wear the shirt because I wanted to bring attention to the epidemic of blacks being killed at an alarming rate. Tyreek told the OSU sports site 11warriors.com. What we would like to do is have people talk about these issues to reduce the murder rate of African Americans. He was ready.
Like, I mean, they're in Ohio, right? So, I mean, obviously Ohio has some high profile. I mean, this is the weekend of the Philando Castile verdict, and, Ohio itself has some high profile.
Rice happened in his hometown.
Yeah, I mean, like, look, man, at this point, and I think this is a wake-up call for sports, just about anybody out here, and I think it's one of the things, millennials and, whoever want to call anybody a generation younger than us, you're going to have to wake up because these motherfuckers are woke as fuck, aware as fuck, and you're not going to be able to get around anymore. Like, This is a new age. The new age of, you know, I know we might talk about it, but, you know, what's happening with Kaepernick, yo, you're not going to be able to get away with that shit now. Like, you know, he's going to get the last laugh. Because at some point, this ain't gonna work, yo. It's just not. You know?
If y'all think that Kriss and I are like wild, radical, and progressive, this next generation motherfuckers are on some whole nother other shit.
Nigga, this is why I don't call myself radical. Nigga, I be seeing people younger than me talking, and I'm just like,
the future is bright. Because these children, man, look, 17.
Nigga, I be looking at some of these people, and I'm just like, oh, you too woke for me. I mean, good for you, sir. Good for you. I'm just gonna sit back and I'm not gonna say shit. I'm gonna let you do your talking. I ain't trying to cross these young kids no more, yo. It's like, nah, man. You keep thinking like, you know, you think you're gonna get the last laugh with denying people, and we're not gonna. He's too much of a problem. Okay, you can keep thinking that if you want. You're gonna get some other really good, high profile kids you really want to have at your school, and then realize they woke as fuck, which means that either you're gonna have to be woke as fuck, or you're gonna get the fuck out. You know,
college sports. The state of California issued state travel funds bans to 5 more states. How has this hit a sports podcast? Well, the states included are Texas, Tennessee, and other football-rich states. So technically, if you coach for a state school in California, you can't use state funds to go recruit in that state.
Okay. We'll see how long that lasts.
Whatever lever it takes, man. Like, if this is the thing that makes, like, Mississippi act right,
it will. And again, it's this is like the puppy thing with black people and puppies. Like, if you just strap puppy to your back, police won't shoot you anymore because there's a higher percentage of you going to jail and having a problem and being reprimanded as a cop if you shoot a puppy than a black person. That's what this is. But like, that's what it's going to take to make motherfuckers actually act right. Then see it happening. Yep.
I mean, it helped. Like, it's been talked about many a time is how athletics was part of the thing that helped make desegregation, like, helped it happen. Mm-hmm. Because sports and the commodification of these athletes, which obviously continues today, but that was kind of the lever with which people were like having to be okay with shit.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll deal with motives on the back end. I just want shit to get right. So if this makes Texas fix some bills, let's do it.
Yep. At this point, I'll take it when I can get it.
Yeah, I'm here for results. I had a wild conversation with one of my friends last week about football. We play football together in college, and he's got a son now and stuff. And as we all know, it's been in the news. It's been a leading topic, thankfully, hopefully continuing to be so. But the damage that happens from concussions. Leonard Floyd, former University of Georgia Bulldog and Bears linebacker, suffered 2 concussions in a 5-week span last season and had his rookie year cut short. He said the effects have lingered well into the offseason. You just don't feel normal. You know, it's this thinking part. You don't think the same. I wasn't thinking like I normally would think, and I'd be staring off in space sometimes instead of paying attention. He had his first concussion November 20th against the Giants, was carted off the field. Doctor cleared him to fly home, and he played the next week. His next concussion came December 24th, at which point he was shut down and told not to do any sort of workouts until the symptoms lifted, and that took about 8 weeks. The wildest part about this story to me is, can you guess the tone and tenor of his the quote that they end the story with?
Oh God, I'm afraid to ask.
The story ends with, "I definitely got to be more aware because I don't want to get another concussion and sit out games. I got to make sure I play every game." But that's what it is, man. Like that's the culture that is football. You miss a game, you lose your spot. It's a wrap for you. Don't get Wally pipped. Like it's a joke because it happens.
Yeah.
Typically, football with no guarantee contracts, and they can cut you anytime with little financial recompense.
All right.
Like the NFL is like, and I do it a lot, and I rail against the union, and people disagree with how much I dislike the union. It's fine, but you can't deny that they're the ones that are in the worst financial position of any of the major sports, and possibly in the worst physical condition afterwards.
Yeah.
Warren Sapp, he's a Hall of Famer. This week he came clean about memory loss with a video released on, was it Players Tribune. He said we're playing in a macho league and we're talking about Hall of Famers who are immortalized forever, made busts and everything, legends of the game. There's no way any of us really want to admit that we can't remember how to get home or grocery list that the wife's given us or how to pick up our kids to go to school or whatever it may be. Talks about how you make excuses for it and trying to think your way around it.
That's right.
And it's nuts, man. And people say, oh, well, they knew the risk. We didn't know. They didn't know.
Well, they know the risk. Okay, so does the NFL. And what is the NFL doing about it?
Deny.
Right. I mean, like, okay, fine. The player, well, you know the risk. Okay, fine. You know, as a fan, you know the risk too. You're still fucking watching. You're not doing anything to demand that the NFL do anything better because you don't give a fuck. Matter of fact, a lot of you sit there and complain about how soft the league has gotten. Not just that, and not just like the NFL either. I mean, granted, we're talking about the NFL here, and it's really, really bad there. But it goes back to the argument we never talked about with, the NBA and people talking about how the NBA is so soft now. And I'm like, these guys are literally twice the size they were years ago, and they're way more physical. They're just bigger, and you don't notice it. And people are like, oh no, I miss the days of like when the Jordan rules and they used to, I'm like, yeah, they were like literally fighting on courts. Yeah, I miss those days. They didn't call fouls back then. I'm like, so you're literally asking for more concussions and more injuries. Excuse me? Like, yeah. I mean, we get mad at some of those touch fouls we've seen. Again, sometimes I think they're a little too much with the quarterback and you brush against his head and all of a sudden it's a, blow to the head of the quarterback. I'm like, okay, sometimes that's a little bit wrong. But in some cases, you also got to realize that the guy who's just brushing against the head of the quarterback is 400 pounds, 300 pounds, if I brush against your head with my arm, my flimsy fucking arm, that's one thing. But if Warren Sapp does it, might cause a little more damage. Just maybe, just a little bit more. So, just saying, we don't take that into account. We as fans were just as responsible for this shit. We don't care. We're not going to stop watching. And until that happens, the NFL's going to keep denying, and acting like their players aren't literally, taking years off their life with every hit. Every hit, literally.
We're now, today's date of recording is June 25th. And as of this date, Colin Kaepernick is still employed. Just in case you were wondering if there was any collusion or blackballing going on.
Oh, well, there's just other, there are better choices out there for quarterbacks.
Albert Breer has now changed his argument to, I need Colin Kaepernick to explain why he should have a job, which I thought was a great. I think it's really amazing in times like this, as a nation, we ask ourselves, who will be the loud, wrong white man?
And there's always one
plucked from obscurity and given a platform on the sheer loudness and wrongness of his take. It's literally white mediocrity writ largest. And this year, it's been Albert Breer, who 6 months ago, I say that name and you say, "Who? What's a that?" But no, he writes for MQB, and he's, I guess, an NFL insider. Which honestly, I need to know. Like, is there a Is there like a shield like level 8 insider, level 4? Like, is some level classified? You can't ask questions. Is it color coded? How do we grade our NFL insiders these days? But apparently, he is one who believes that there's absolutely no reason Colin Kaepernick should possibly have a job because he's a bad quarterback and nothing to do with his politics. And this week, it's transformed into we need to hear from Colin.
But wait, I thought
Colin's a fucking jukebox.
I thought Seattle said that he was too good of a quarterback.
That was because that was the early one was he's not good enough, and then Seattle said he was too good, and so now everyone had to scramble and find new reasons. And Alberts is explain in an essay of 400 words or less why you should be a quarterback. He gave Colin Kaepernick homework
because he's a fucking NFL quarterback. Who is better than some starting NFL quarterbacks? I can't. You know what I'm waiting for. You know what? Hope Colin, keep doing what he's doing. I hope he stays in shape, and I hope there's going to be that one team that loses their starting quarterback who sucks, and their backups are going to suck, and they're going to go, hey Colin, you staying in shape? You still wanna play? And I hope he looks at him and goes, no. I hope he's done. You know what? At this point, if I'm Colin Kaepernick, do I even want to play in the NFL anymore? After the way he's been treated, do you want to? Like, I want them to beg him to come back and him to say, no. You could have gotten me, but now you...
Part of me wants him to, like, stick it to him and, like, really go back and take the league over and take a team to the playoffs and shit. But the way my petty's set up, I'm with you 100%.
It's fucking it's absurd. It's so fucking absurd. Like there are not saying he's the greatest quarterback in the world, but good God, he is better than a lot.
If you have to keep changing your story to fit a narrative, that's a lie.
Right. It's just
you're lying.
And they're all lying because they don't want to admit that the early reports as to why Colin Kaepernick isn't playing in the NFL were right. NFL execs are racist douchebags, and they don't want to hire.
NFL execs are admitting it, and they're like, "I don't see any evidence." I'm like, "He said it was the reason." The Mara family, they said that. Well, we need more facts, motherfucker. I've got his voice. What facts do you need? He spoke those words.
Are you telling me that you don't believe that the white owners of sports teams are racist? What? We're now...
No, Chris. See, that's the thing, is that you and I need proof they're not racist. These cats are asking for proof that they are.
Okay. I see.
It's different starting points.
Valid. It's a valid point.
I honestly think that's a big part of the problem. They come from a place where they can't imagine someone being racist. And we come from a vantage point from a little place called Earth where we can't imagine someone not being racist.
Okay, let's see what we're doing here. Okay.
Oh, that was a depressing laugh. I do want to talk about some basketball. But before we get into like the real sports and the nitty gritty of basketball, let's talk about the Knicks. Because holy shit.
Are they still a basketball? Do they still qualify as an NFL professional basketball team? No, honestly,
hold on tight.
Because to me, the Knicks have not qualified as a professional basketball team in a long time. So, but no, carry on, please.
Phil Jackson. Phil Jackson is a respected former coach who has been collecting money from the New York Knicks at gunpoint with no mask for like 2 years now. And you know what? This isn't even part of. I have a little timeline here. Before we get to the timeline, news broke that a top 15 projected pick said that Phil Jackson was falling asleep during his workout. Kriss.
Okay,
he fell asleep. Yeah.
Is it me, or does it feel like maybe this is like MJ and Phil Jackson conspired to be like, you know what? Even our old age, we can still beat the Knicks.
Honestly, I used to tell that joke that Isaiah Thomas was sent them to destroy the Knicks. But, like, this feels like it was a Bulls-Pistons conspiracy. Like, it was I'll set him up, you knock him down. Like, what the hell?
The Bulls Pistons revenge, and for no reason, because it's not like the Knicks ever beat them.
The Knicks never won shit.
Yeah, right, the Knicks never won shit. So this is just
like it's two bullies being like, we can totally pick on the Knicks. Yeah, man, let's do it. There's a super team. This is a super team.
Mm-hmm.
This is embarrassing, dude. But let's get to the actual stuff that happened this week. The more stuff that we can verify. I can't prove that Phil fell asleep. I can prove that he told MSG, literally, the television network that the owner of his basketball team also owns. He, in a softball interview, volunteered that Kristaps Porzingis was on the trading block. For those who don't know, they call him a unicorn, which, all jokes aside, that I could make and do make about that silly-ass nickname. They think that Kristaps Porzingis is like the second coming of something. He is a 7-footer who can hit threes. He plays decent defense. I think that his ceiling isn't as high as people think he is, and I don't think that he's going to hit as close to that ceiling. But we'll see. They're like, he's the next Dirk. I'm like, I don't think so, guys. But we'll see. He's a good player. Is he a great player? I don't think so. Can he be your best player? I don't know. But to float your biggest young asset for no reason, excuse me, Chris, not no reason, earlier this summer, Kristaps Porzingis skipped his exit interview. And that's what Phil Jackson cited as a reason for them listing the trades.
Yeah, that sounds reasonable enough to me. Fuck it. I'm convinced. I'm convinced Phil Jackson doesn't even know where he's at.
Every time they interview him in New York, I'm waiting for the background to move because I think it's a green screen.
Like,
there's no way he's actually.
What if Phil Jackson has actually literally lost his mind and he really thinks he thinks it's back in the '90s when he's coaching the Bulls and he finds himself in control of the Knicks. He's going, wait, I can help MJ. I can help our team. I'm going to sabotage from the inside. I think that's what he's doing. I really think he's what he's doing. So
Phil Jackson thinks he's in a time traveling movie. Oh, poor Phil. Well, the draft came, and did the Knicks embrace and make their fans feel any sort of calm and serenity? No, because they did the one thing you can't do on draft day to make your fan base feel more calm. They drafted a European player. And there have been some hits and misses, especially in New York. Gallinari was a miss. Sorry, guys. Was it the Roosters, the Peacocks, or shit like that? Kristaps has been a hit. We'll see how this guy works. I don't know. And lastly, all right, Chris, so there's a rumor going around, and it's going around because Stephen A. Smith screamed it on his radio show. I say screamed because that's the only way he can talk.
I've never seen him I've never seen proof otherwise, so valid.
He said on the air, I'm not going to yell. He screamed, I finally got clearance to say this. There was a 5-team trade that would have sent Carmelo and Paul George to Cleveland. But the only two hangups were, one, Carmelo's hesitance to go to Cleveland, and on a much larger scale, no one wanted to take Kevin Love's contract. Now, I don't know who Stephen A. Smith's sources are, but there's no one whose name is involved with that feasible trade who feels better after hearing it. So I assume the leak came from the Knicks. Because it's the least strategic league of all time.
Oh, my goodness.
Like, why say it?
Yeah, that would have been an interesting thing. First of all, why wouldn't Carmelo want to go to the Cavs? Because
why would you? Okay, I'm gonna ask you. You live in New York City. Why would you move to Cleveland?
I mean, okay, so valid
that
point.
Shit matters.
Okay, that matters. That matters. Unless you don't give a fuck about winning. Like if he wants to win, now Carmelo don't give a fuck about winning.
It's a binary thing. Like you didn't want to win, or he does now. Yeah, wives and kids and shit. Like okay, we're talking about this.
Who has wife and kids?
Chauncey Billups is up for the GM job in Cleveland, and it's apparently just he's waiting for him to sign the paperwork. but his daughter's entering her senior year of high school in Denver, where he's from. That shit matters.
Right. We're talking about Carmelo, right?
Yeah, I'm just saying. And Carmelo's having his marital issues. Maybe he wants to stay close to try to fix them.
He's not going to fix it. So it's like, dog, you might as well go ahead and let that one go. Like, no. She gone, dog.
It's a pipe dream and a stupid one.
Yeah, no, dude, you might, yeah, dude, it's like if he's staying around to hold on to that hope, nigga, you gone. Cause remember,
funny story. Sorry for you, Carmelo. It's a short one.
Right, dog. I'm gonna tell you right now. If you hold on for that one, I don't think so. Cause what came out about that, bruh. Whew. Good luck, man.
You might be hoping against hope. You might be right.
You hoping against hope on that one. Right. You might want to just go ahead and pack up and leave for a little bit. Maybe come back with a ring and then you could talk. Because right now, I don't think so.
Go to Cleveland and fix your life. Hey, it worked for JR.
Mm-hmm.
It really did work for JR. All right, so the draft came and went, and it's so weird because, like, the NFL draft, like, no matter what they've done to it or, like, fracture it up, it still feels like an event every year, right?
I mean, I guess to everybody else, but not to me.
I mean, not to me either. Trust me, I actually hate it. But, like, it feels like something that happens. Like, the NBA draft, I don't know if it's because no one really watches college basketball or that we just don't know these kids, but no one seemed to really be excited about the NBA draft.
Yeah, no. I mean, you know what I think at this point? I don't know, maybe it's just, I think it's because of social media. Social media at this time makes draft day pointless.
Right.
Like, there's no, because it used to be that's when you get on. At this point, most people already knew who was going to win. You already know about all these players. There's not really were there any really major surprises? Because again, I really wasn't paying attention. Don't really follow basketball that much anymore. So I don't think there were any really big surprises. So, I mean, what's the point of like really watching these big things anymore? I mean, other than for the kids, like that. I don't want to take it away from the actual, the guys getting picked and being drafted. It's still big for them and their families. But for just as a regular person, fan of the sport, like, is it really a big day anymore? Doesn't need to be, because at this point you already know.
And especially NBA, because, like, maybe there's one or two guys in the draft who's going to change a team. Past that, you're like, maybe he'll be in a rotation. Like, you're not looking at all-stars. Like, you're looking at guys who are going to fill rotations.
Mm-hmm.
Guys who are going to be coming off the bench in 3 years. So, I mean, I don't know. I think it's a weird cross-section of, like, just the top-heavy nature of basketball talent. Like, just because having those franchise-altering players, it's harder to find them in the NBA than it is in football.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that kind of makes it less exciting for more of the teams.
I think that's the other thing too that makes me the reason why I don't think draft day matters so much, because they were showing the picks from the year that Durant came out, and there was like Greg Oden went for number 1 pick over Kevin Durant, and I'm like, and you look at this and you're like, literally, Oden came out and a bust, complete injuries, couldn't really do much. It's like, right, and it's just like at this point, and I think this goes across also, I mean, NFL too. It's like at this point, there are so many factors about whether a person is going to be good or not, or when they're going to blossom and when they are. I mean, you'll get some guy who didn't get drafted, who turned out to be a superstar, and a person who did, who got drafted number 1, who's out of the league in a few years because of injuries. It's like at this point, at least for me, I'm more on we'll see what happens. Like, hey, you know what? When we're going to talk about it, hey, Lonzo got picked. Wait, it's Lonzo, right? Lonzo's the kid, right?
Lonzo's the kid. Yeah.
Okay, I had to make sure.
I have to do that too. Like, wait, which one's the kid?
But, like, all this talk about, oh, man, he's great. I mean, what happens if he's not good?
Right.
Like, what happens if he's just mediocre or less, come next year? And the Lakers have been garbage. So, like,
I think it's really interesting you mention that, because this is the longest stretch in history of the Lakers that they've been bad. They've never been bad this long. It's amazing kind of that we're living in this time, and I get to lord it over my Laker friends. But like you said, they did draft Lonzo Ball. Another thing that's been happening, you see it with the Lakers moves, a couple other moves out west, is teams are organizing themselves to have massive amounts of cap space in 2 years because the belief is out there that LeBron's not going back to Cleveland. LeBron's not going to stay. He's going to leave again. People say, why? Just this week. Okay, so the Cavs owner is a psychopath. You may remember such letters as Comic Sans, Dan Gilbert. And he's never, ever extended a GM. This offseason, and their second back-to-back the second half of on their third consecutive trip to the finals. The owner decides not only to not extend the GM, but when other teams like Atlanta come calling and say, hey, we'd love to interview your David Griffin, the owner tells them no permission. That's something you do if you're going to bring the guy back. Nope. He never even offers an extension, lets the contract run out June 30th, which means the Cavs entered the draft with no GM.
Oh, that's not him. Well, I mean...
LeBron openly said, please bring him back. Apparently, one of the reasons that on his way out, he had set up a deal that was going to send Paul George to Cleveland. Only Paul George nixed it because of the lack of certainty of what was happening in the Cleveland front office. He's thinking about bringing Chauncey Billups in to do this, to do the job of keeping LeBron James in Cleveland, a job he's never done. I'm not saying Chauncey Wood wouldn't be a good GM. I'm saying he's never done it, and you're playing a pretty big gamble with having LeBron James leave again and leave you with nothing, because if LeBron leaves, Kyrie's already said he'll opt out.
Of course. Why?
Because why wouldn't you? Dude, because why wouldn't you? If LeBron's gone, it's like, who's going to get stuck with the check? Because it won't be me. I'm out next. Like, no.
I can't wait for the great LeBron sweepstakes, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, and honestly, people are like, I don't know if LeBron's the biggest. No, LeBron's the biggest story in the NBA because we're talking about where he might be playing in 2 years.
And here's the thing. I know people are going to be, oh, this is LeBron's ruining the NBA. Listen, I've been a fan of this for the longest time, and I can't wait for this to happen. I can't wait for it to happen where there's no fucking loyalty, and people go, I want to fucking win. Because here's the thing. As much as people say it, loyalty among fans ain't what it used to be either, so why the fuck not? I have for the longest time been, I am not loyal to a team, I am loyal to players, which is what the reality of all this shit is anyway. I love the Bulls growing up because I love watching Michael Jordan and Pippen play together. And if they were fucking Knicks fans, guess who would have been a fucking Knicks fan? And I am not sad to say that because I don't live in fucking Chicago. What the fuck do I give a fuck about Chicago for? No, I'm a fan about the players. Yes, that's what we want to see. We watch the game for the players. Come on, man. Because nobody wants to be that fan stuck with fucking, Washington racial slurs gear, living from their yesteryears in the 90s, when they last were fucking good. Like, come on. What the fuck? Come on. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm a fan of this. I'm such a fan of this.
Well, someone who's probably not a fan of this is Dwight Howard. They had Dwight Howard on television, asked him, he's asking fans, what trade would you like to see? 5 minutes later, that motherfucker got traded for nothing. He got shipped out to Charlotte for it was an embarrassing little haul. Kriss, I know, is it because we all have this image of what Dwight Howard we think should have been, but we don't appreciate for what he is? Because this guy is a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I think we've forgotten what Dwight Howard used to be. But Dwight Howard was, again, another one of those freak of natures for the longest time. It just so happened that he just, for the most part, didn't play on good teams. But he was a fucking freak of nature. So,
people point to that Lakers year. I'm like, you do realize he led the NBA in rebounds with a torn labrum.
Well, that's like pointing to Shaq and looking at what what was it, the Heat years. Didn't he play for the Heat at one point?
Yeah.
Yeah, he got moved. Yeah, it's like looking at Shaq and thinking of the Heat years and him being a fool right now on social media and like commercials for General Insurance. All right, and forgetting that he literally was a freak of nature. Like, anytime somebody brings up that argument of, well, you guys are arguing about LeBron being next Jordan, but what about Kobe? I'm like, you do realize Kobe played for those first three championships with the greatest force of nature in fucking basketball, right? Like, come the fuck on. Like, you are not going to sit there and pretend that those first 3 years, that wasn't Shaq's team. That was Shaq's team.
Like, it's the wildest thing because people, like, you're right, we completely forget, like, and even doing so, like, not even, let's forget about what Dwight was. Let's talk about what Dwight is. Dwight Howard still, without being, like, a central part of the offense, threw up a double-double last year.
Just, something what I can do,
What? He just, just 13 and a half and 13 and 12. He averaged 13 and 12 on a Hawks team that was a 6th seed.
So, working.
And apparently Dwight rubs people the wrong way. They don't like him. Apparently that's got to be it because production-wise, like, that's about what you're going to get out of a 31-year-old center. That's the highest of high ends.
Yep.
It's a damn shame. Speaking of damn shames, so Jimmy Butler got traded on draft night for nothing. Zach LaVine and pieces to the Milwaukee Bucks. And I can't believe it. It feels so bad. And not Bucks, but Timberwolves, excuse me. But, like, I was talking to my friend in Chicago, and they were like, so we win, so the Cubs win the World Series, and basically the universe is going to have us draft Mitch Trubisky in football and then do this in basketball. And I was like, you're not wrong. Like, that's pretty accurate. Traded a whole bunch to draft Mitch Trubisky and then gave away Jimmy Butler for nothing. Chicago. Enjoy that Cubs World Series. Was it worth it?
Yeah. Well, we build a team around Dwayne Wade, so,
Oh, no! Yo, Dwayne Wade's going to have so many DNPs. Did you see him on the sidelines looking like a Miami Vice extra?
Oh, during
the final?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Look, man. Look. Dwayne.
Late career Dwayne, don't give a fuck. He's here for the checks.
He's here for the checks and, chilling with Gabrielle Union. That's fucking it. Like, he doesn't give a shit right now. And I'm like, I'm here for it. Mm-hmm. I'm here for it. I'm here for dudes who paid their dues, got their rings, and are now just in the league making as much fucking money as they fucking possibly can. Don't give a fuck. Do you, Dwayne Wade?
He earned it, man. Look, he earned it. If they say, would you like this extension for more money, who am I to say no? Who am I to say no?
You do realize I'm old, right? And you do realize I might not play something.
I would even say that, but yeah, I'll sign. Where's the pen? You have anything you want to tell us? Nope. How's your knee? Feels great.
Feels great right now.
Where's the pen? The pen? All right, let me sign this real quick. All right, I'm going skiing. What? I'm going skiing. These are guaranteed contract, motherfucker. I'm out. Y'all may never see me again.
I'm thinking back to it, the Knicks, have the Knicks ever been, like, I'm sorry, I know this is out of the blue, but just when you talk about guaranteed contracts, have the Knicks ever, like, when's the last time the Knicks were actually made smart decisions? Wasn't it like Allen Houston, they were still paying like $25 million?
They just gave Joakim Noah a bunch of money and he could not make it this season. They traded for Derrick Rose.
Like, I'm sorry, when was the last time the Knicks?
There's an undercover agency to destroy the Knicks.
But that's what I'm saying. It's beyond just Phil Jackson. Because again, the Allen Houston thing was the longest running joke for the longest time with the Knicks. They were still paying Allen Houston for some shit.
They added a rule.
Right.
The Allen Houston rule.
Right. I'm like, so, like, when was the last time that the Knicks were actually good? Was it Patrick Ewing era? Like, when was the last time? I can't remember.
They made the finals. I wouldn't say they were good.
Yeah, right. It's like, so they made the finals one year, and you're just like, yeah, okay. Oh, man. Shout out to Knicks fans, yo. You guys
No,
have a level of patience.
You know better, Knicks fans.
You have a level of patience.
The same way I look at everyone who paid money to go see the last night. You knew it. You know what you did. You deserve it. Damn it.
Goodness, man.
You deserve what you deserve. Feel bad. You should feel bad. It was a bad decision.
So many bad decisions here.
The last bad decision of the week came from Indiana Pacers president Kevin Pritchard. Kevin Pritchard said when he heard Paul George's remarks about not wanting to return, not wanting to continue to be a Pacer, he said it was like a gut punch. If you're hearing this story and you're wondering why am I reporting a story from February, we're all making open jokes about Paul George going to the Lakers, don't be confused. Kevin Pritchard apparently just found out. Like, they were making jokes about this on SportsCenter, Kriss.
Well, this was,
it wasn't like a internet NBA, like NBA Reddit thing. No. This was a Paul George to the Lakers. People were like seeing how to get him there at the All-Star break.
I don't even follow NBA news like that. And even I've heard this. Like, how are you just... Dude, this is why
you call it a gut punch tells me you are fucking terrible at your job.
Oh, I'm about to say, and this is why he's leaving. Like, you didn't even know?
But you know what it really is? They're framing it. Mm-hmm. So that when you start pulling articles from the latest batch of this stuff, the first one is this.
Right. Yeah.
They're just trying to frame the argument with their fans. Pritchard, it couldn't have come at a worse time. If we had known this a few months ago, I think we would have been more prepared. Becoming public was a big issue. We want our players to want to be here. That's important. It really is. When Paul said he didn't, that's a gut punch. Motherfucker, what?
Oh, man. Wait, weren't they in the playoffs?
Like, yes!
And wait, the jokes were being made during that time. Like, what are you talking about? How did you not know? Oh, my God. What the fuck, man? Oh. Okay.
Like, it's what, like, and I know people, because some people have this draconian need to be a bootlicker inside with the owners. They'll say that, well, Paul George, he killed their leverage by saying it publicly. He'd been saying it, like, loudly for a while. And they've done nothing. If they want any return now, they're going to take 20 cents on the dollar because that's the position they put themselves in. That's why, honestly, I don't hate the Jimmy Butler move for Chicago because if you knew to keep him, you'd have to sign him to big money, and that you didn't want to do that, get rid of him now for some assets. I would have gotten many more assets, you shitty Bulls front office. But hey, it is what it is. Like, why make that trade? I'm sorry. I hate to go back to it. It's like Zach LaVine, who has a torn ACL. Now the Bulls have legitimately 7 point guards on the roster. It makes no sense, Kriss. Like, I've looked at it from every angle. Like, let's make it make sense. Can't do it. If you weren't going to ride with Jimmy Butler, that's fine. And you decided to trade him that's fine. Why trade him now? Why not wait a week and see what's out there? Why not wait till, I don't know, the end of free agency in July? Very bad. Like, and that's the other reason I think that people focus on super teams and players colluding together. Because if we take another hard look at how bad these fucking GMs are, nobody would have a job.
Yeah, I mean, shit. If I'm like at this point, you take your destiny into your own hand and make your own fucking team and say fuck the GMs. You know, go to the GM, tell them, look, this is what we're doing. Make it happen.
That seems to be the only way to really get anything done.
You know, so
Paul George didn't want to do that. He knows what he did. All right, before we get out of here, did you have an MVP this week?
No, I don't. Who? No. Go ahead now. Let me think of one. I can find one.
My MVP of the week is former Patriots and Chiefs tackle Ryan O'Callaghan, who came out as gay this week in a story in Outsports. His plan apparently was always to play football, and then when his career was over, to kill himself because he had been hiding the fact that he was gay his entire life, and it ate him up inside. And football was his way of covering it is he says in the piece, and it's so. Please find the link in the show notes because it's crazy. Like he blocked in college for Aaron Rodgers. Like this is a guy who achieved great success in the gridiron, but was melting down inside because of the secret and because of the stigma that we can say as far as we come as a country, it's still there. People are still terrified. And I think it's insanely brave that he's able to tell this story, but I think it's such a great thing that the Chiefs medical staff, that's what it was. Somebody recognized the signs of depression in him during an off-season workout and referred him to someone to talk to. And that was kind of the first step. It's just, I'm really glad that he's able to share this, and I hope that any kid at any level or person at any level in football in particular, because it is such a unique and machismo-driven culture, I hope they find this story, man, because this is it's fucking moving.
Yeah. I mean, for all the talk we've been shitting on front offices this entire show, from all across the sports. So this is a good thing to hear about people, one side doing the right thing. So that's the way to do it. I don't have an MVP, but I just want to shout out to there is a lightweight fight in the Bellator fight. It was between Michael Chandler and I can't remember who was fighting. I think Chandler hurt his ankle. The fight ended with a TKO. He hurt his ankle in the beginning in the fight, and he's in the corner. He's on his chair, and he wanted to fight, but they kind of ended the fight. And so he stands up when he after sitting on the stool. He stands up, and I just want to shout out to the official who, when Michael Chandler stood up to say, "I still want to fight," removed the chair that he was sitting on. So when Michael Chandler went to sit back down on the stool, it wasn't there. So to add insult to injury, not only did Michael Chandler not get a TKO loss due to this injuring his ankle, which was not due to any strike. I think he planted wrong on his foot. He then stood up on it and then went to sit back down, and the official had moved the stool. So when he sat down, Michael Chandler went for another tumble. Just want to shout out to the New York Athletic Association for being completely full of shit. Thank you, guys.
Well, there you have it, folks. This has been Unanimous Decision. I am DPalm. Follow me on Twitter. Follow the show on Twitter. I'm at DPalm66. The show's at UDPod. And we'll be back later this week with some more audio goodness. At 50 episodes, thank you, everyone who's listened to even 1 second over the last 50 episodes. Thank you, Kriss, begrudgingly for somehow tricking me into recording more podcasts.
You came to me.
I'm like, and actually, before we hang up, after we end this, I have to pitch something to you. Actually, damn it.
You guys see how this happens, right? I did not see anything.
I was brainwashed. I saw this motherfucker a week ago. Like, see, he puts up there on my drinks. Like, I'm telling you, like, damn it. Mm-hmm. Make sure you subscribe to the iTunes Store. Leave 5-star reviews. You're right on the air. Email the show at udpodcast@gmail.com. Amazon affiliate link. Go through the site. Make sure you go premium. Get those extra episodes. And please visit us at store.mtrnetwork.net. You can tell everyone in the world how much you love the MTR Network with your chest or a lovely, tasteful coffee mug. That was your show. This is your outro. See you next week.